Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm so glad you're joining me. Today we're making a card in 5 easy steps, and my card project today is actually for a blog hop. Simon Says Stamp is celebrating their fabulous ink palette with a blog hop. They're celebrating all of the fabulous ink colors and color combinations that are available in the Positively Saturated inks. And so I hope you can join us. You can head on over. I believe there's a giveaway that goes with it, and I'll leave Simon Says Stamp's blog down below in the description area. I say that because starting at the beginning is always the best way, because you don't want to miss out on any inspiration. Okay, for my 5 easy step card, we are going to jump and get started with our focal point. Step number 1, we are going to be using the Simon Says Stamp Iceland Poppies. This is a really pretty flower die. There's no leaves, just the stem and then a flower that's layering. I'm going to die cut this out twice. I'm going to create three flowers today. Now we're going to use our fabulous ink colors. I'm using Allspice for my brown today, and I'm going to create 3 flowers. We're going to create a flower with carnation, a flower with honey, and a flower with blush. So let's go ahead and start with our carnation. I'm just going to pick up a little ink. Now for these flowers, I do like a little bit of white showing. They're layerable. So all I'm going to do is take my blending brush and go over a few little areas of the edge of my flower petals here. Going intense in some areas and then light in another. And that's all I'm doing. There is this little layering piece that I'm going to add a little ink to on the very bottom. Okay, that's one flower. I'm going to do the same thing with my honey ink. Just add a little color, intensifying, leaving a little bit of white area. These are so easy to create, but the flowers are just stunning. My third flower, we're going to add blush. It doesn't take much, just a little goes a long way. Now I do have the flower centers. For all 3 of my flowers, I'm going to use my Allspice. And then while I have my Allspice out, this is where we're going to add a little brown to the edges of our floral. Now that's all I'm doing with the brown. I do have my stems. There's 2 different styles of stem, along with 2 different styles of flowers. My stems, I'm using my cabbage ink. I think this is one of my favorite greens from Simon. And we're just going to add a little color to our flower stems. And just to tie everything together, I'm going to use the leftover ink that's on my blending brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of brown to my stems too. To create the flowers, all I do is add a little glue to the base here, and then we can add our layer here. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to put these together. We just add, for the most part, the flower is just 2 pieces. And you would line up the base of the flowers here. Okay, after we have this done, I'm going to add a little glue to the top of that base, and then we can add our flower center. We'll add our last one here. And then we have the little petal that goes right over the flower centers. Add a little glue. And then this will fit right on the bottom, following along the curve. And then all we have to do next is to add our stem. And those are our lovely flowers. Aren't they just so pretty? They're just gorgeous. I'm going to put these to the side, and now we're going to work on step number 2, which is creating our home panel. Home panel is going to be very easy today. I'm using the die set from Simon Says Stamp. It's the A2 nesting frames. I'm going to take the third from the smallest, and I'm going to cut this out with some craft cardstock. I went ahead and die cut out 3 out. This way we have a little bit of dimension on our card. We're going to stack all 3 of these together. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. So now we have a little dimension to our frame. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to add this to some white cardstock that I just trimmed out that was the same size of the outer edge. And that is my home panel. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my florals next. We're just going to put a small foam square behind them, just behind the petal part of our flowers. And I'm going to arrange them in the center here. And I think that looks really pretty. I'm not worried about my stems lifting up because we're going to actually cover that with step number 3, our sentiment. For my sentiment, I'm using the same die set that we use for our home panel. This again is the A2 Nesting Frames die set from Simon. It comes with a greeting that says hello. Okay, we're going to use the shadow and also the hello. I'm going to actually bring in a piece of white cardstock and we're going to do a little bit of ink blending. I'm going to use my allspice ink and I'm going to add some color at the very bottom here. Okay, and then I think I want some pink, which is the carnation ink. I'm going to add that just above my brown here. This part doesn't have to be perfect because we're actually going to die cut it out. And I think that looks great. So I'll take my hello and I will cut that out on the color, on the part that we just ink blended, and then my shadow I'll cut out with my white cardstock. Now we have our greeting. We're just going to add some glue behind here and layer it on its shadow. If you wanted to layer a couple of these, you very well could. But I'm going to pop this up with some foam tape. And this is actually going to help secure our flower stems. We're going to move along to step number 4, which is creating our background. I have a Simon's Stamp stencil here. This is called Dots on Dots, and it's kind of funky, and I love that. And we're going to use this and ink blend a background using the same color of inks that we used for our florals. So I'm going to bring in my craft mat here. We're going to ink blend directly on our card base. So it's a top folding card base. So I opened it up and then I'm going to be using some of my Post-it note tape and I'm going to mask off the area right on top. And then I'll take my stencil. We're going to start by inking our stencil with honey ink. And what we're going to do is some what I like to call messy inking. It's my favorite kind of messy inking to do. And I'm just going to ink up 4 areas. And you'll notice some areas I went heavy-handed. It's always nice when you do messy inking to have a darker area. So mess-ups are welcome on this stencil. Before I add my next color, I should always wipe off my stencil. Okay, we're going to add our carnation, kind of overlapping. And we're just going to go in 4 sections here. Lovely. We'll wipe this off. And then we're going to go in with blush. Blush is like a real pretty corally color. And we'll add some of this. Wonderful. And we'll wipe off our stencil, and then I'm not gonna use my green, but I am gonna use my brown. Right now our colors are nice and bright and vibrant. Brown is going to tone it down a lot. So I'm just going to add a little bit of brown in some of these areas. And that is all there is to that. We're going to wipe off our stencil, and then you're going to see how that brown just tones everything down. Let's take a look. Look how pretty that is. I just love that. Okay, so that is our background and the front of our card base. Now I like dimension on my card, so I'm going to flip this home panel over. We're going to put foam tape behind here, and I'm going to just place this right in the middle of my background. I just love those polka dots. So much fun. Okay, we're going to move along to step number 5, which means it's time to embellish. Today I'm using my Simon Says Stamp Pastel Tones, Positively Dazzling Gems. There's a variety of colors in here which are so pretty. I'm going to find some colors that coordinate with our flowers. And we will just add a little bit of sparkle in our background. And that will finish off my card today. I hope you get a chance to check out the blog hop that's going on right now, celebrating Simon Says Stamp's Positively Saturated Inks. There are some pretty fabulous ink combinations and ink colors out there, and I think you will get inspired. I hope you can join us. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.